Hello there, and welcome to this Healy Onboarding presentation on unlocking the power of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, where, as you can see, we're going to be learning about the information field, how to create clients, the difference between all the modules, how to interpret the parameters of your analysis, and much more. My name is Henry Peña, and I'm Healy's Onboarding Specialist, and I'm going to be your host today. Now, before we get started, I want to remind you that you're more than welcome to sign up to a live version of this presentation by simply scanning this QR code. I will also leave a link on the description of this video where you will be able to sign up for the presentation. And also, keep in mind, you will be getting a full copy of this slide deck right there on the description of this video. So just go right there and click on that link, and you'll be able to download this presentation so you can refer to it later. Now, the very first thing that I want to discuss today is going to be the information field. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, we have this disclaimer that I always encourage everybody to read because it describes the information field as property of Healy, because it is, even though it's a phenomenon that exists in the universe and has been studied by science, and also it's discussed in spirituality, the actual information field term is property of Healy. So again, just so you're more familiarized with what it is when it comes to Healy, you're more than welcome to read this. I definitely encourage you to do it, but don't worry because we're going to be going into detail when it comes to the information field in this presentation. So these are the different topics that we're going to be discussing today. Again, we're going to be going over all of the different modules, how to create clients, how to interpret the parameters. And then at the end, we're going to be doing a live demonstration of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, where we're going to be basically a summary of everything we're going to be discussing, but actually following along with the app. And then lastly, we're going to be discussing a previous stream that we did called Beginners and Beyond, where we answer some frequently asked questions about this app. And that way we can get that out of the way. You're more than welcome to watch the stream if you want, but you should be able to get answers to these questions right here by watching this video. And also remember, we will be leaving timestamps on the description of this video so you can quickly access the different sections of everything that we're going to be discussing today. So let's go ahead and get started with the information field. So for this, I like to refer to this quote by Berkheim, who was a German physicist who studied a lot of quantum physics. A lot of his work in his life was dedicated to quantum physics. And actually, Marcus Mika, our founder, talks about him in his book, The Second Path. He actually mentions him and says that he got inspiration when it comes to the use of the Healy and how the Healy utilizes the information field. A lot of the inspiration he got was from Berkheim's work. So what a better person to explain what the information field than him, right? So he says that, put simply, the information field is the link between mind and matter, and that everything we do, think, and feel, along with all of our mental topics and matters, is stored in this information field. So what does this mean? This means that this network of information, right, is able to gather everything we think and everything we do and is stored right there as information. Information with meaning that's coming right from our consciousness. There's going to be a personal information field that has to do more with our individual experiences as a human, right? So it's going to be our emotions, our thoughts, aspirations, etc. And then there's the global information field, which has to do more with that network of interconnectedness. It's what really links us with our environment and also connects us with all things in this world. So that's really how you're able to transfer information from one place to another. It doesn't matter because everything is interconnected through this information field. Now, here's a little graphic that explains more in detail what the information field is, or it describes it better, right? So it's easier to understand. So you can see that Berkheim divided the world in 12 different dimensions. So you have 6 at the bottom and 6 at the top. The ones at the bottom have to do more with the material or physical world as we know it. And then the other 6 layers have to do with the consciousness room, which has to do more with the spiritual and also the psychological aspect of things, right? So it's things that are not really material. And you can see right there between dimension 7 and 8, right there, it's the global information field. Once again, being the link between consciousness or the mind and matter, right? So everything that is part of the energy room, you have the matter, you have the energy level, which that's when we're talking about frequencies. So The global information field is very, very important because that's really where everything comes together. Now, how is the information field present in this world that we live in? So for that, I like to refer to the term unus mundus. First of all, it's a term that was popularized by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung and basically means one world. So the idea here is that everything is part of a holistic reality. We should not see ourselves as just, a body and a mind and a spirit. It's a full picture, the whole thing. Same thing, we shouldn't see ourselves technically as individual beings because we're part of a whole, almost as if we were little waves, right? In a bigger ocean, right? So everything is part of a holistic reality where everything is interconnected. And how can you take advantage of this interconnectedness, right? Of this network of information? We do that through what is known as quantum entanglement. So quantum entanglement simply means it's a term that refers to the idea that you're able to link quantum states or quantum information of two different systems, regardless of their physical distance, right? The idea here is that even though this is something that is possible and has been scientifically proven, it cannot really be shown through classical physics. That's why Einstein, back in the day, he called it spooky action at a distance. He said that it didn't really make a lot of sense. There were just too many variables that those scientists who were studying quantum physics back then were not really taking into consideration. So he simply called it spooky action at a distance, saying, right, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's just something weird, right? Well, later on, there were other scientists who explored quantum physics a little more and quantum entanglement, and it was actually proven that it was, in fact, a phenomenon that can be reproduced, and it's actually a thing. So the idea here and how the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app is going to be taking advantage of this concept of quantum entanglement is, once again, through the power of our own intention, we're going to be able to link the information, quantum information from one user to another, even if they're in a completely different part of the world, right? Because in the quantum realm, where we're talking about subatomic and the subatomic level, distance and time doesn't really work the same way that works in classical physics. So once again, we're going to be taking advantage of that global interconnectedness, as we explained before, with unus mundus, right? So the way that this quantum entanglement actually occurs and we are able to take information from one place to another is through quantum teleportation, which once again, it's a phenomenon has already been studied and reproduced. Anton Zeilinger, also a physicist who studied this, and he actually won a Nobel Prize um, because of his discoveries in quantum physics. He was able to teleport through quantum teleportation particles from one island to another, a distance of, I believe, 144 kilometers in total. And again, this was thanks to all of his advancements in quantum physics and quantum teleportation. So why is this important? Because we need to take advantage of all of this in order for the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app to make sense. Otherwise, all of these concepts or the actual process of sending information from one place to another place won't really make much sense because, again, if we look at it through the lens of classical physics, a lot of these things may seem kind of like strange, but from the lens of quantum physics, where distance and time are seen completely different, and you are not really limited by the idea of locality, then we can definitely take advantage of all of these concepts, the idea of interconnectedness, the quantum entanglement, linking two systems, and then quantum teleportation, the idea of sending information from one place to another in an instant. So we send quantum states, right? This is a little graphic of what the Healy will actually be doing as we use the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. At the top, you see physical noise generator. Why do you see that there? Because inside of the Healy, there is that technical component called physical noise generator. That's what allows the Healy to interact with the information field, analyze information from there, and then ultimately send you that information that you will be benefited from, right? Now, the first link occurs when the physical noise generator, also known as the Healy, right, interacts with the bioenergetic field of system B. So that would basically be either yourself or a client, right? And the reason why the bioenergetic field is here is so important, just like when we're talking about the Healy 2 app, is that the bioenergetic field, let's remember, is basically an extension of what is more commonly known as the life force energy. In Eastern cultures is known as, for example, in Japan it's known as Ki, in China it's known as Chi, in India it's known as Prana. But the bioenergetic field is ultimately what we want to be working on because it plays a crucial role in our life, psychologically, physically, spiritually. But in order for the Healy to interact and harmonize this bioenergetic field, it needs information. That's where the individual information field comes from. So that's what's going to gather everything you think and everything you do, that information coming right from your consciousness is being analyzed by the Healy. But keep in mind that this information, right, see how we see it on the right side of this slide, it's non-conceptual information. It's pure information without really conceptual meaning. We don't understand it. We're not using words. It's just pure information. So how do we actually take advantage of this information that is coming from a very non-tangible realm, right? The information field. Well, you can see that the arrow pointing up, it goes through the Healy. The Healy analyzes that information. It basically links it with the database of information patterns, which are all those databases that you find inside of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, regardless of the module that you're using, right? You will find a lot of different databases. And ultimately, once it links that information, again, non-conceptual information with all those databases that we have in the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, now we have meaning. Now we understand it. And then ultimately, we are using that information, the one from the information field plus that one from the database of information patterns, it's being sent to the bioenergetic field, and ultimately through our own reflecting on those results that we get, plus those positive vibrational information that will be sent to you. That's how you get benefited from the by the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. So as you can see, the impact of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, it all comes down to first two steps, right? Analyzing. It's going to be analyzing the information field, and then based on that, it's going to be sending positive vibrational information based on what can benefit you the most in that particular moment. So you can see that the purpose of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, once again, is going to be utilizing quantum theory for holistic well-being enhancement. This is done again through all different types of the modules that we can see, from the aura module that focuses on the chakras, the coaching module that focuses on different aspects of life, the resonance module that focuses on the different program groups that we have, plus other holistic practices that we offer there as databases. And then ultimately, you can see at the very bottom on the last bullet point, we can see that the goal is so that you can send that you can harmonize the bioenergetic field. That's really what we always care about, the bioenergetic field. That's always going to be the goal, because that will impact every single aspect of our well-being. And remember that this is only possible thanks to the principles of quantum entanglement. Now, when it comes to actually using the app, the very first thing that we normally have to do, right, unless we're using it on ourselves, is creating a client. And here's usually where I get some of the first questions in if you were to participate in the live presentation, right, in the live onboarding. A very common question that we get is, how is it, like, should I hold the Healy? Like, how is it possible that you can analyze and send frequencies or vibrations on a different user, right? The app asks you to hold the Healy on your hand. So do I have to do that? Well, yes, the app will ask you to hold the Healy in your hand because it allows you to bring awareness to the process of the analysis, which can be very helpful, right? So if we're holding the Healy and we're feeling the texture, we're feeling the temperature, we're feeling the weight, we're bringing awareness to the fact that we're holding the Healy, it will ultimately allow us to focus more on the process of the analysis, which can be helpful. So we always want to try to be as intentional as possible when we're doing this analysis, which is why the app suggests you to do that. So if you have the person right there in front of you, you're working with a client, or you're doing it on yourself, yes, hold the Healy. It's perfectly fine, and it is encouraged to do so. However, if you're working with somebody remotely and they're in a different part of the world, you're more than welcome to hold the Healy yourself. If you want, you can put it nearby too, but I mean, if you have the Healy with you, you might as well hold it, because ultimately your own intention will also be entangled in that link between yourself and the client, who may be in a different country or a different state, right? So it's always important that everybody's on the same page when it comes to the goals and the intention behind this analysis, right? And then once you record the vibration, which is a process that is super quick, that's basically the vibrational identity of your being, right? It gets recorded there, and then you go ahead and continue. And you can see you can create all different types of clients. So that takes us to our first module, right? The resonance module, very popular module. One of the main applications that it has is to determine what program resonates with you the most. So let's say that you're someone who is using the Healy and you're like, you know what, I'm not really sure what to run, what program would help me. This is where this app can really come in handy, right? Because it will do that analysis of the information field, and then based on that analysis, then you will be getting program recommendations. So a very common method of application when it comes to using this particular module, the resonance module, is that you would do a no Healy programs analysis. We're going to be going over that once we're doing the live demonstration of the app. But then once you do that, you will be getting the top 5 program groups of all the different program groups that Healy contains. And then what you can do after that is perform a new analysis on the highest program group or other one that resonates the most with you. That's why we give you 5 different results, so that maybe the one at the top doesn't necessarily resonate with you that much, but maybe the second one or third does. So then you perform a new analysis, and then you would ultimately get your top 5 programs, right? So this is basically how it works. It does also offer you the opportunity to do analysis of the Mac Healy databases, so you can definitely do that. We always encourage that once you do an analysis and you determine which ones are the programs that resonate the most with you, that you go ahead and run them on the Healy 2 app. That's how you're going to really get the most benefits from these programs. Yes, you can vibrate these programs, the top 5, as you can see right there on the right side of the slide. But ideally, again, that's going to be a less tangible and less physical interaction. It's just going to be pure information going through your consciousness. So yes, even though it can benefit you, it will not interact directly with the bioenergetic field. The bioenergetic field can be harmonized and will be harmonized, but in a more indirect way than when we're talking about actual direct like energy, when we're talking about the Healy 2 app, which will be sending either electricity if you're using microcurrents, or the frequencies from the electromagnetic fields in the case of using the coil, or even if we were to use the Mac Healy, there are also electromagnetic fields that are directly interacting with your body and your bioenergetic field. So when we vibrate things, when we vibrate positive vibrational information, the different databases that we have here, when we vibrate them, again, it's going to be a less physical and less tangible, less material approach to this type of sessions. So yeah, just something to keep in mind, right? So physically speaking, they interact very differently. Now, that's for the HealAdvisor Analyze resonance module, which also, remember, you also have the option to do analysis of different types of holistic practices, right? So that will include things like I Ching, creative homeopathy, backflower remedies. So you are welcome to also, if you're familiar with any of these practices, you can go in there and do an analysis, whether on yourself or somebody else, and then it will give you insights when it comes to that specific practice, which can be very helpful. So then we have the aura module, which, as we know, the aura is basically a representation of the different chakras, so which are energy centers that travel vertically through our spine. They all represent different organs, different qualities, different aspects of life. So what the app is going to do, this particular module is going to do, is that it will translate, right, the aura and the chakras in present states and desired states that we can understand very easily, right? So even if you're not very familiar with the theory behind aura and chakras, you're still more than welcome to use this module, and you will be getting those affirmations that you can read. And remember, when you vibrate something, only the desired state gets vibrated. If you look on the right side, you can see, for example, the present state. It says the person is afraid to make decisions and take responsibility for them, but the desired state always tends to be very, very positive. So you can see it says, I confidently take decisions and assume responsibility for them. And that's actually what gets vibrated. So what you want to do is vibrate that multiple times a day and read it. and reflect on those results. And then the app, through the vibration, you're doing your part by reflecting on these results multiple times a day, kind of like overcoming those limiting beliefs and developing new patterns of thought that are going to help you achieve those goals. But then through that vibration, that positive vibration information, it's almost like you have somebody pushing you on a swing. So you're not on your own. You have the app and that positive vibration information from the information field supporting you, right? And all of that is thanks to the healing. So that would be the aura. Then we have the coaching module, which I would say it offers a more pragmatic approach, because if you're not super familiar with the aura, right, you can always do the coaching module, because this one focuses on areas of life that we pretty much everybody relates to, right? So we have finances, spirituality, self-worth, family relationships, social relationships, career, etc. So the way that this one works is that you're going to do a quick analysis. Once you do the analysis, that you can see on the left side of the screen, it says focus text. So that means that you can enter your own affirmation there, your own focus statement, right? So you would type something in present tense, something positive. If you're not sure what to write, remember that at least the coaching module offers you the like default focus, right? So you can select one of them and then see if one of them resonates with you. Or again, you're more than welcome to write one on your own, something that resonates with you. But ultimately, once that analysis is done, and remember, you can also do that on the aura. You just need to go to the advanced settings, make sure you activate the corresponding settings, and then you're going to be able to also add a focus statement on the aura module. So just something to keep in mind. So you enter your focus statement, and then once you do that, then you will be getting a range of different results. The ones with the lowest segment, the smaller segment, the ones that will look kind of like orange and very small, those are the ones that are going to have the highest um, potential for growth and improvement. So those are usually the ones you want to focus on. You can select many of them, but I always encourage everybody to only focus on one or two, because we do want to try to be intentional. Remember that the rule of thumb when using the HealAdvisor Analyse to app and vibrating things is that you want to have as many results or as many lists as you need, but as few as possible. So again, it's not a matter of having 12 different results and vibrating all of them. It's a matter of really being very intentional, looking at the results that resonate with you the most, and then deleting anything that may not really serve you or that resonates with you so much. So that would be the coaching module. As you can see, it's very practical. It focuses on things that we pretty much all of us relate to. So it can be very, very helpful. And then lastly, we have the Healy Meridian module. We don't go into detail that much on this presentation. However, keep in mind that this module is designed for those who have a Healy. So you will need a Healy device, right? So besides the Healy, you will need the actual Healy. Plus, you will need the access to the Meridian module. Remember, this module is designed to analyze the different meridians. Those are the pathways in which vital energy or life force energy, also known as chi or ki, is flowing through your body, right? So the idea here is that if one of these pathways, one of these meridians, which are all linked to vital organs, is blocked, then that usually can lead to discomfort, illness, or other sorts of problems. So ideally, we want to make sure that these meridians are in a coherent state, right, in a balanced state, instead of hypoactive or hyperactive. And this module is designed specifically for that. It's going to give you insights when it comes to that. So that's a question that I do get often. Is like, okay, what is the difference between running, having this module, the HealAdvisor Analyse Healy Meridian module, versus, for example, running the Meridian programs or doing a resonance analysis of the Meridian programs? As you can see, this particular module, it offers a really detailed approach to the analysis of the meridians. It will actually follow the same principles of traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, in which it will go through every single one of those acupuncture points, and that's going to be the analysis. That's why when you do an analysis with this particular module, it does take a while, because it has to go through every single acupuncture point and then it will also give you insights in regards to your organs, and then in regards to the specific acupuncture points, as you can see on the right side, and then it will also give you those insights when it comes to desired state. So for example, in this case, it tells you the present state that says, I feel torn in half, someone is trying to rip something or someone very dear to me away from me. And then ultimately the positive vibrational information that will be delivered will be the desired state, which it says, I choose self-compassion and self-acceptance. So this is how it works. If you are interested in traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, meridians, this module can be very, very beneficial. Just keep in mind, again, you will need a Healy and also the actual Meridian module for the Healy. Now, when it comes to interpreting parameters, you're going to see that when you do an analysis, in all of the modules, the only exception being the resonance module, you will be getting 3 different parameters. When you do the resonance module, you only get relevance. So the relevance basically means how important a particular result is for you in the particular moment of the analysis, right? You can get positive percentages and you can also get negative percentages. So if you get a negative percentage, it means that it's a subconscious topic. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's not important, because if we refer to, for example, Carl Jung's theory of shadows, these are usually topics that are happening in our subconscious, and we still want to work on them, because once we integrate those shadows, then we can ultimately experience really great benefits, because we stop seeing them as problems and we actually see kind of like the light behind these shadows that actually helps us improve as human beings, right? So yes, you will be getting subconscious topics and also conscious topics. Doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be important. So again, just use that as a parameter to determine whether or not it's something that, it's additional information, basically, right? So that's relevance. How important a particular result may be for you, and whether it's conscious or subconscious. Intensity is very simple. Intensity is going to be the second parameter, which means how ready you are to work on a particular issue. How intensively can that topic be introduced on yourself or a client, right? Or how ready you are to really acknowledge that that's something you really need to work on, which is why we always recommend that you stick to intensities between 6 and 10, because those are going to be topics that you're technically already ready to work on. And the tricky part about working with topics that are under that, even if you see the present state and desired state and they resonate with you, is that there is a chance that you may not be ready to work on those changes, or sometimes you may read a result that doesn't really resonate with you at all, even though all of the other parameters seem great, but that one doesn't really resonate with you. And that all that could really mean is that you may not be ready to even acknowledge that's something that you need to work on at the moment, right? So that's how intensity works. And then lastly, we have potencies, which these are specific concepts that have to do with creative homeopathy. And we're going to be discussing that a little deeper on the next slide. Now, if you're familiar with classical homeopathy, you may be familiar with these particular letters. D usually is understood as a physical phenomenon, C as a psychological one, and then LM as something that has to do more with spiritual aspects. But in this context of the Healy, when we're talking about Healy, we follow creative homeopathy, which in this case, this is the meaning that you can expect to have from all of these results. So the potencies are going to be causes, C are going to be effects. They're both in the foreground, meaning they're both going to be relevant because they affect your life directly. They're part of the foreground. They're topics that usually are appearing in your life and that you should technically be aware of them. But these are going to be more relevant in this case because they're a cause. So you can basically say that if you see a result that has a D potency, you can say, all right, this is a source of a problem, right? If I'm able to address this, then this means that other aspects of my life will also be improved. For example, C or results with a C potency. So if you get a result with a D potency and another one with a C potency, then you can basically assume, all right, this one is a cause, this one is an effect. So if I address this cause, then if you have multiple C potencies, multiple results with C potencies, then you will be able to say, all right, if I focus on this, then all of this will probably I will probably see improvement. LM are going to be the most abstract ones. They can be a cause, they can be an effect, and they are in the background. So they usually play a less relevant role in your life, right? They're usually not as present. They operate quietly in the background. So those are usually the ones that you may see and not feel that they resonate with you that much. Now, keep in mind that the information field, even though it's extremely accurate, it's information coming right from our consciousness. Sometimes it can be a little abstract. The Healy is doing its best to interpret all of this in a way that can be understood with words, right? So sometimes you may see these potencies that are LM or C or D, or you may get some of the parameters and it may not necessarily resonate with you, and that's okay. Remember, ultimately the biggest thing that you want to pay attention to is the present state and the desired state. If it's something that resonates with you, you can always use the other parameters, relevance, intensity, and potency, as filters, right? To determine whether or not for sure you want to leave it. Because remember, the idea here is that you do want to filter all of this. You want to remove as many lists as possible, and you only leave those that really resonate with you for that particular focus that you have right now. So another question that we get often, how long should I vibrate these results for? So whenever you get your results, you get the option to vibrate, and then it's going to ask you how long you want to vibrate it. By default, it's usually 1 minute and 20 seconds. I recommend for the most part sticking to that duration. But as you can see, it says that depending on whether it's a conscious or a subconscious topic, that how many times you vibrate a day will vary, and also how long you vibrate will vary. So the thing is that sometimes you will be getting multiple results, right? And one of them may be a conscious topic, meaning it has a positive percentage, right, in the relevance. And sometimes you may get a subconscious topic, meaning it has a negative percentage and the relevance. So then what do I do here? Left or right? So that's why I use this only as a reference for the most part. I always encourage everybody that ultimately this app is something that requires a great deal of intuition. You really need to choose what resonates with you, including how long you do it and how many times. If you are someone with a very busy life and you find it impossible to run a vibration, for example, 5 times a day, then do it 3 times a day. If you don't have time to do it 3 times, do it 2 times. And if you only have 1 time, then do it once. It's better than not doing anything at all. But ultimately, you need to do what resonates with you and use all of this as guidelines. And then before we move forward, I want to remind you that there will be a number next to these potencies, whether it's D, C, or LM. And the lower the number, the more chances of that particular topic of having manifested in your life, or that it's present in your life. So sometimes everything looks good, you have great relevance, great intensity, and then you get the potency, and it's a D potency, but then the number is super high, right? An exponential value or a Roman numeral. So if it's an exponential value, you're going to see 1 and then an E and then another number, or sometimes it's a super high number like 10,000. In those cases, that means that particular topic may not be manifested in your life, may not be present. So again, you usually, when it comes to potency, ideally you want to be getting a D or a C and a really low number like 5 or 10 or 5 or even up to 50, as you can see there on bullet point number 3. And then with that, now that we have discussed the different modules, how to interpret the different parameters, how to create clients, and the theory of the information field, now we can actually go ahead and start with the demonstration, right? The live demonstration of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. All right, so here we have it, the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. This is what's going to look like when you first open it. Now, keep in mind that you will need to log in into your account, the same credentials that you normally use for the other apps like the HealAdvisor app or the Healy shop, back office, etc. It's the exact same credentials. So just make sure that you log in into your app, and then you're going to be able to access your clients and everything will be saved, right? You do have the option to access the app in demo mode, which is possible, right? But for this demonstration, I honestly recommend that you log in into your account. That way you won't lose any progress or any clients that you add. On the top left corner, you're going to have the Me section. That's where you would record your own vibration and add your own information, add your own picture, etc. If you want to add clients, you can go to at the bottom left corner, right? You say clients, you press there. That's where you would add clients. You can press the little plus symbol at the bottom to add somebody. You can see that you can create different types of clients, right? So that's how you would do it. You would, if you go to person, you would add their first name, last name, and then once you do that, then you will record their vibration. And the way that I normally describe it, right? The way I would record a vibration. So let me go back to my own vibration. I recommend doing this, recording a vibration, whenever somebody has gone through a big change in their life, or if it's been a really long time since the last time you performed or recorded a vibration from them. And normally the way I would do it is that I would simply do the record vibration. You see it says to place the Healy right there. It doesn't require much more than that. The information field and the Healy will know what to do. So normally what I do like to kind of like ground myself, take a deep breath, and then I can hold the Healy, feel the Healy, etc. And then I record the vibration. And then here it asks you to connect the Healy. So that's usually one of the first steps that we want to do. And you can connect the Healy in many different ways. But in this case, since it's asking me to connect it, I will press the power button right here on the Healy, making sure that green light and only the green light is blinking. Remember that if the blue light is blinking, that means that it's already connected to this app or the Healy 2 app. In this case, I want to connect it, so I press the power button, I press connect, I search for devices, and there it is. And then I press connect, and then now it's connecting. I know that the Healy now is connecting because the blue light will light up. And then once that blue light lights up, indicating that it has connected, then at that point, it will be ready to start. Oh, let me try it again. And there we go. Now there's a blue light right there blinking. That means it's connecting, and then we're good to go. And then it's going to start recording. So right, so you just take a moment of silence. You just breathe in, breathing out. You just you're aware of your intention of where you're the moment you are in life, and then that's it, right? Doesn't require much more than that. So the same thing, if you were to record somebody else's in a different part of the world, same thing, you would ask them, okay, let's take a moment, take a deep breath. You focus on them, their intention, whatever it is that they're trying to work on in that particular moment, and then that's it. Now, as you can see on the top right corner, that Bluetooth icon, that now it's green, it used to be red. And with the fact that it's green means that now my Healy is connected to the app. And if I wanted to disconnect this Healy, I wanted to connect something else, I can go to settings, and then where it says my Healy, and then you can see it says connect to another device. So let's say that I were to use, let's say you have a Mac Healy and you have the Mac Healy Meridian module, you can turn on your Mac Healy, right? So in this case, I just turn it on, and then I would press connect to another device. I would say yes. My Healy will disconnect, and then at this moment, now my Mac Healy shows up there. I press connect, and then you can see that now it's connecting. So for this particular demonstration, though, we're going to be focusing on the Healy, but I just want to show you that if I go back to me, now in this case, if I try to use the resonance module, because now on the top right corner, you see that now there's a Mac Healy symbol. That means that now my Mac Healy is connected. If I go to the resonance module, it's going to tell me, hey, you need to connect your Healy, not your Mac Healy. So for this demonstration, again, we're going to be only using the Healy. We search for devices, and then at that point, we go and look for the Healy. The Mac Healy will disconnect. Now the Healy is connecting again, and now we are ready for going over all the different modules. So the very first one is going to be the resonance module. As I mentioned earlier, it's divided in 3 different sections, one for the Healy programs, one for the Mac Healy programs, and then lastly, that one that says database analysis, which contain different types of holistic practices, right? Different types of practices for well-being improvement. So if some of them resonate with you, like I'm just gonna go here just to show you, you have Alaskan gem elixirs, Australian bush flowers, back flower remedies, and then you have other databases that are to improve specific aspects of life, like courage, for example, or personal growth. So those are things that you would go there, and you can also always go to where it says further info on this database. It will tell you what it's about, and then you can read some of the affirmations that come with this particular database. So in this case, personal growth, some of the affirmations say, I accept the higher control over my actions. I accept what God and nature provide for me, things like that. But before we do that, let's go back to the resonance module. So in the case of the resonance module, we're going to go to the program group 1, the Healy programs, we do the analysis. And then again, I normally would say, all right, let's just take a moment. And then we want to do the all Healy programs first. You can go there and says where it says for the info on this database. It says with the help of the information field analysis, all program groups. This basically means that you will be able to do an analysis of all the areas. And then after that, it is encouraged that you do a deeper analysis on the program group with the highest resonance. As I mentioned earlier, if the one with the highest resonance doesn't really resonate with you, you're welcome to try a different one. So in this case, let me just go back right here. So yeah, remember in this particular module, unlike the aura or the coaching, you will not be able to change the focus statement. So in this case, you can see it says, with what do I have the greatest resonance now? That could also be interpreted as, of all of these different databases, which one is the one that I need the most or can benefit me the most? So in this case, we will do all Healy program first. Again, we just kind of like sit down and take a moment to breathe. And then there we go. Keep in mind, you don't need, so I have my coil right here. You don't need to have the coil. You don't need any accessories. When you use this app, you don't need any accessories. The Healy itself will be the one that will be taking care of everything. You don't need cables. You don't need adhesive electrodes. You don't need wristbands or the coil. The physical noise generator inside of the Healy is what analyzes the information field and sends those vibrations through the information field. So you only use the Healy. So you can see at the highest result, I have bioenergetic support program groups. And then after that, I have different results, including deep cycle, chakras, etc. So in this case, we can see that the highest one is 62%, then the lowest, the second highest is the 54. So we can see there is a considerable difference. So in this case, I would definitely go with bioenergetic support programs because those programs are designed to give you an overall bioenergetic support, as the word says it. So I know in one way or another, it will benefit me. So it does resonate with me, that part of the energy side of things. Now, if you're not sure what a particular program does, you can always go to that section for their info on this database. You can always vibrate this. You will not be able to run these programs on the Healy 2 app from here because these are all program groups. They're not individual programs. So it does give you the option to vibrate, which will send the positive vibrational information from these programs into in order to harmonize your information field, which will ultimately harmonize your bioenergetic field in a non-direct way per se. So we have this result. We can start the vibration, right? So normally I would recommend 1 minute and 20 seconds. The default is perfectly fine. You would vibrate that multiple times a day, and that's how you can get benefited from these programs, even if you don't necessarily have them on the Healy 2 app. Remember, the support is going to be a little different, but you can still get benefits as you vibrate these programs. So in this case, I'm just going to go back and cancel it, right? Just to save some time. So let's say I wanted to do a bioenergetic support now analysis. So I would go to bioenergetic support programs, which we can always see for the info in this database. It tells me what it is for. So it does say that this one has to do with global issues. So in this case, we have bioenergetic boost, coherence, and cosmic growth. 3 of them are fantastic programs. We do the analysis. And then we have bioenergetic boost as the highest one. So in this case, let's say that you wanted to run that program. Again, you have the option to vibrate it, but my recommendation would be that if you really want to maximize the potential of these programs, you either run all of them or choose the one with the highest relevance, which in this case is bioenergetic boost, and then we run it right there, and then we go ahead and run. It would ask you if you want to open on the Healy 2 app, and then you run the program. So that's the way it would work. You would do the exact same thing with all of the different database, the other modules, right? So the resonance module. So you would do the same thing with the Mac Healy. You can do all my Healy programs, and then the other individual databases, and then ultimately with this one is going to be following the same process, but instead of programs, you will not be able to run them on the Healy 2 app. These are all databases. So these ones are going to be more similar to the way that the Aura and the coaching module works, meaning that you will just get that affirmation, you will read it, you will reflect on it, and then you will get that vibrational support from the app. So that's the resonance module. And now for the Aura, we would go here. You can always go for the info about the Aura. It will tell you a little bit more about it. But in this case, we will just start with a quick general analysis of the Aura. It's super quick. Take a deep breath and relax. There we go. So now we have a visual representation of my Aura, which you can always change. In this case, it says my Aura is strong and stable, but we are not going to leave that. We can change it, right? So remember, in order for this little pencil to show up right here, you need to go to the advanced settings of the app and check some of the options there to make sure and ensure that that's available. Otherwise, you will not be able to change this. So for this, you can change it to something else, which in this particular example, like I have some affirmations written here. So I go here and then I go and choose a statement right here, right? So in this case, I like this one, right? So when I'm giving my presentations, I can inspire others on the benefits of Healy and the transformational power that the Healy offers. So I go here, then paste, there we go. So now we're here, right? That's gonna be my goal here, so that you as a viewer, I'm inspiring you to understand and really be able to I want to demonstrate, right, the remarkable benefits and the transformative power of Healy. So I press continue, start the analysis, and then here we have our last results. Now, before I go over this, because something I forgot to mention, if I go back, you can see that the deeper analysis was performed on only the weakest chakras, which are the ones that have the lowest percentage, those that have the line surrounding them. And they can be on a chaotic state, meaning that it's a very chaotic energy. It's all over the place. You can always click here and it will tell you a little bit more about it. Or it can be in a rigor state. It's rigid. It's very solid. It's energy that is basically stuck. So there's too much order, right? So if you click where it says, it also gives you the option to perform an analysis of all chakras. It would normally appear here at the bottom as soon as you perform the analysis. But since we already did it and we already have our final results, it doesn't give me the option. So I can just go press on the top our analysis results, and it will take me to the analysis. So in this case, we have these results. So what I normally suggest is taking a look at the parameters first. So I can already assume this one is not really going to be very relevant for me. Even though it has a really high relevance, I can see the intensity is 3, meaning I'm not necessarily ready to work on the particular issue. And the potency doesn't really give me a lot of confidence because it's an LM potency followed by a big Roman numeral. So I don't really doesn't really give me a lot of confidence, right? So normally what I like to do is find the ones that resonate with me the most when it comes to the parameters, and then I also read the present state and desired state. So in this case, it says in the home of this person, the father and the man are living in nurturing maternal principle. Doesn't really resonate with me, especially with the affirmation that I put, that are inspiring others to demonstrate the remarkable benefits and transformative power of healing. So in this case, I would delete it, right? Remember, you want to delete things. You don't really want to leave everything. You want to delete and make sure that you're only leaving what's truly important for you. This one seems good. It's a C potency and only number 1, very present in my life based on what I can see here. But it's a 4. So meaning that it may not be ready to work on it. I mean, it's close to 6, but we'll see. But technically, based on these specific results, I can assume this is something that's going to be relevant for me. So I see the present state. One's own vocation is lived as an activity is carried out that makes happy and feels nurturing. The existing state is further anchored. I carry out an activity that makes me happy, nourishes me, and is an expression of my vocation. This deeply resonates with me in this moment of my life. I'm I'm basically in a process of almost rediscovering myself and really trying to figure out exactly what are the things that make me feel passionate and make me feel a lot of joy in life. Kind of like what they say, you want to go and explore different things in life to discover what your passions are. I'm in this moment of my life right now. So because of the parameters, I see this is something that deeply resonates with me. They're great parameters, great relevance, great potency. Again, the intensity is number 4, but still it resonates deeply with me. So I would leave it. Even though it's a 4, I still like it a lot. So you would do the same thing with all of the other ones. This one also offers great parameters. The only thing is that the D has a really big number next to it, 100,000. So it may be something that has not manifested in my life, which may also mean that I may not really understand it very well. But we can see it says the person knows that they refuse to experience one or more aspects of their solar plexus chakra. They show avoidance behavior. So in this case, sometimes what you want to do is see how one result may be related to the other one. So this one says, I'm living the themes of the solar plexus chakra full of trust. So you can see that it talks about avoidance behavior. So one of the things that you need to understand, especially when you're trying to discover your own vocation and trying to discover the things that make you happy, is that you need to be able to get out of your comfort zone. So I can already see that these two relate. So this one is more about the feeling of happiness, all right? You are trying to cultivate happiness. And this is basically what's telling you this is what you need to do in order to cultivate happiness, which in this case, it's showing that it's avoidant behavior. So we need to be able to experience the themes of the solar plexus chakra fully and engage trust in the process, really just going for it. And then by going for it, the D, again, when we address the cause, then we would eventually get benefited from the effect. That's how you interpret these results. As you can see, it does take a little bit to really read this and have your own interpretation. This is also, and then after this, you can see it now it's a negative 83. Those are going to be subconscious topics. They could still be important. So that's basically what you want to do. And you want to remove anything that may not be important and then just vibrate. Once you have the ones that resonate with you the most, you vibrate them and you get that additional support. And you want to read them multiple times a day because it works just like affirmations. Affirmations are not something that you just read once a day. You usually do this multiple times a day. So and then another question I get asked, so does that mean I need to do an analysis every single time, multiple times a day, or like multiple times a week? No. You usually want to carry out the same analysis and vibrate it multiple times until and different topics become more relevant in your life, until you see that that particular topic you've been working on already is addressed. And then you're like, you know what, I've had enough. This is good. I feel much better now. How do you access a previous analysis? By going to history. So you would go to history, and then from there, you would go ahead and do that. You can see all of the different previous analysis I've done. But the one that we just did was this one, the RR recording. You would go right there, and that's how you would do it. And then just to finish up this demonstration, I'm going to be doing the coaching module, which if I go to the coaching, it's something really cool about this one. Just in case you don't want to write something on your own, you do get the option to go here and select a specific affirmation from here, right? So I am at peace with myself. I use my strength and abilities in my work. So I can, for example, I am living my true calling. So let's go with that one. I'm living my true calling. We start the analysis. And then as you will see here, this one has a more pragmatic approach. It will always select the one with the lowest segment as the main one. So that's the one that's selected. You can select multiple results by clicking on the little circles, but once again, you do want to make sure that you're as intentional and focused as possible. So in this case, I only recommend doing probably maximum of 2. We can see the lowest one are finances and career. They're very related one with the other. If you're in a career that brings you joy, that you're very passionate about, and that could also signify finances, etc. So in this case, those are the ones that are showing here. We will press continue. You will be getting 2 results per database, and there's 3 databases per area of life. So we selected finances and career, and then it would give me 2 databases per section. So you can always double check, you can always go where it says profession, and you can see all of the different databases that are within that specific database, that particular section of profession. In this case, you can also select how many results you're gonna get. So in this case, I just want 2, right? So that would mean I would be getting 12 different results in total, because you would get 6 from finances, 6 from career, and then ultimately, well, you're gonna be getting a bunch of results. So you're gonna have to review all of them and remove anything that's not relevant. You can see this one is gonna be a more pragmatic approach. It's technically more focused on finances and career. The aura, as we just did, is going to be more general. It can still be super duper accurate, but again, the advantage of the coaching module is that it allows you to be a little bit more specific. So we start the analysis. And then once the analysis is over, we have it right here. And then you would go ahead and interpret the results just like that. So in this for this particular example, let's do an experiment. I'm gonna try to find only the D potencies or C potencies that have a low number. So we can see there are 4 in total. So just for this example, and this is not something that you have to do, but I do like to work on those potencies that are C or D and have really low numbers. So in this case, I'm just going to delete this one. I'm going to delete this one, this one. I'm going to leave this one. Delete, delete, delete. Almost done here. So we have 4 results in total. So these are all going to be effects because they are C potencies with really low numbers, and 3 of them are going to be subconscious topics. Only the first one is a conscious topic. So this one, the very first one, is to develop and harmonize the following personal characteristic to master, which it does resonate a lot with me, because to me, and it specifically shows talents. I feel that I am someone who is very familiarized with different types of arts and different types of things, but there's nothing in particular I'm like, this is it, this is my thing. And I do find the idea of getting involved in something enough and dedicating so much time and discipline to it that you actually become a master. I do think that's something, a quality that I respect a lot in people who actually dedicate themselves to a craft. So that's something that I would definitely love to see for myself too. So it resonates with me. We can see that because of the parameters too. It's something I'm already ready to work on. This one is excellent. So then you would do the same thing with the other ones. These ones are going to be subconscious topics because they're negative percentage. So we'll see, it says this one is to repair. So this one very close to one another. So they're both talking about talents. So one is about mastering, the other one is about repairing. So maybe this repairing have to do with limiting beliefs that are making me probably think that are probably holding me back from mastering those talents, something like that, right? So this one is resolving stress factors, professional work, liquidity. So, and then lastly, we have employee review. So in this case, these last 2, they wouldn't really resonate with me. They don't seem to match a lot with the other 2. So in this case, honestly, I would just stick to following the rule of thumb. As many as you need, as few as possible. I would just stick to those 2 because they are very similar. You know, one has to do with mastering, the other one has to do with repairing. They complement each other very well. Maybe repairing, again, different thoughts or beliefs that are preventing me from mastering these particular skills, and then I would vibrate them. And that's basically it. Remember, you can go to settings, and then where it goes advanced settings, and then check those boxes. I honestly recommend checking all of them. It will give you access to additional features in the app. So I always recommend doing that. But with that, that actually covers it. The other modules, like the Meridian module, is going to be very similar. The only thing is that you're going to need the Healy. But what you would do is you do the analysis, you select the areas that are relevant to you, and then ultimately you would get your results. You reflect on those results, and you need to try to find what resonates with you. Same thing with the essential oils too. So again, this is an app that requires you to kind of like play with it a little bit. hopefully the parameters are clear based on the description that I gave you and the explanations I gave. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we can go ahead and finish up the presentation with just one more slide that a few more slides that I wanna go over. All right, so here we have an overview of a previous stream we did called Healy for Beginners and Beyond, and this one was focused specifically on frequently asked questions regarding the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. You're more than welcome to watch this stream on your own, or you can, we can definitely go over some of these questions. So some of these I already answered in this presentation. What is the difference between running a program or running vibrating programs on the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app versus running with the coil or the cables on the Healy 2 app? As I mentioned earlier, they're going to be very different methods of application, physically speaking. One of them is going to be using electricity or electromagnetic fields, which are very physical phenomenon, very tangible, very material. And then when we're talking about the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, we're simply sending information from one consciousness to another, or from the information field to one specific consciousness. So it's going to indirectly interact with your bioenergetic field, so you can expect that the benefits are going to be different, right? And we don't recommend running multiple analyses in quick succession because, first of all, you will never be able to repeat it. On a subatomic level, things are going at incredible speeds that are just unbelievable. So you will never be able to replicate it. It's almost like you're in a really fast car and you're trying to take pictures of the window, like expecting that you're going to get the same picture twice. You won't. So you will be getting different results. My best advice is that you really trust the Healy and understand that by simply analyzing and setting your intention, you will be getting an accurate result. If for some reason you get a result that really doesn't resonate with you at all, you're more than welcome to do another analysis, but I would recommend at least waiting a day so that you kind of give yourself a chance to kind of like come back to a place of balance, and then you can reevaluate. How long should you vibrate programs in the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app? We went over that. You're going to have that graphic that you can always refer to. Sometimes you may get programs that may not match your gender, and this is because, remember, when we're talking about energy, yin and yang, we're talking about masculine and feminine energy. Everything is part of a whole. It's about balance. So energetically speaking, it is okay sometimes for a particular program not to match your gender. Ultimately, if it doesn't resonate with you because of the gender aspect of it, you're always more than welcome to simply say, you know what, this is something that doesn't really resonate with me, so you would discard it. When it comes to the chakras, you have the option to do an analysis of the chakra, a resonance analysis of the chakras, and then a Nara analysis, which looks at the different energetic levels of each chakra. They're going to be different. When you do a resonance analysis of the chakras, what's going to happen is that it's going to be looking at the different chakra programs and determining which one is the one that resonates with you the most based on their level of relevance. The aura analysis is going to look at the different energy levels, and it's going to tell you which one has really high energy or low energy. So it's two different aspects. One is looking at relevance, the other one is looking at levels of energy. So they're going to be different. And again, you will never be getting the same results because it's pure information that cannot be really reproduced. So something to keep in mind. Yes, you're more than welcome to record a vibration or do an analysis or send vibrations remotely or in person. The results and everything will be as good whether it's in person or not, because of the principles of quantum entanglement, where distance is not really a factor that we need to be worried about. And lastly, is it okay to walk away from your helium phone once you start vibration? Absolutely. However, I do recommend that you read those affirmations. That's why they scroll in the app like that, so you can read them. And remember, we recommend that you vibrate for usually 1 minute and 20 seconds, and that's perfectly fine. So it's just a really short time. So you might as well look at them and actually do the work of reading those affirmations while you get that positive vibrational information sent to you. Now, keep in mind that unlike the Healy app, that once you start a program, let's say a 40-minute program, you can fully close the app and the program will continue running. You cannot do that with this app. You need to leave the app open. You can minimize it if you want, but you cannot close it. You cannot turn off Bluetooth. The moment your phone and your Healy get disconnected from one another, the vibration will stop. So even though you're welcome to walk away from your phone and your Healy, because distance doesn't matter. It's already interacting with you via the information field, which is a non-physical phenomenon, not limited by distance. You cannot walk away with your phone and the Healy, or your Healy away from your phone, because it will disconnect, and it will, because of the nature of the software, the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, it will interrupt the vibration. So do not walk away from your phone if you have your Healy with you. As long as your phone and your Healy are together, you're going to be fine. And to close the presentation, I would just like to share a quote by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. Again, he popularized multiple concepts like individuation, synchronicity, the collective unconscious, archetypes, etc. Well, he said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And this has to do a lot with, again, one of the concepts that he popularized, which is the idea of individuation, which is when you start looking at those shadows, those traumas, those fears, those things that you usually understand as painful experiences in your mind, and you start seeing what's truly behind them. And instead of seeing them as problems, you see them as things that you need to work on. So things that are usually happening unconsciously, you see that as a problem. Once you bring it to your conscious mind, right, you start working on them. You really, instead of looking away, you look at them. Then that's how you really see, you bring light to those shadows, you integrate them as part of your conscious mind, and little by little, it's a lifelong process. You start becoming that person who you truly are, who is not shaped by fears, by limited beliefs, by social conditioning, etc. So again, a beautiful, beautiful quote that encourages every single person to discover the highest and truest potential as a creative human being. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. I hope you learned a lot about the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. And remember that if you ever have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us via live chat. You can, remember, download that presentation. Everything we discussed today, you're going to be able to download it. Just go to the description of the video. You can download it from there. And if you wish, you're also welcome to sign up to a live presentation. It would be basically this, but you're more than welcome to ask questions in real time. So again, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.